you finish your main. You are going to be spending years sometimes on your manuscript, and you get in a group like this and you want to talk to other writers and how do I make this the best book that I possibly can? But then you're done with the book. And then you've decided to independently publish and people freak out. What do I do? Do I just go to Amazon and upload it and hope for the best? The answer to that is no. But it's basically a series of tasks, and those tasks can seem extremely overwhelming. But the good news is the more you do it, the easier it is. And hopefully this will serve as a little bit of a primer for you. So when you get to that point where you're done with your manuscript and you're ready to publish, it doesn't seem so frightening, and instead it seems exciting. So who am I, and why do I get to tell you this? She said that I am Kristin McTeirnan. I run the Nonsense Free Editor, which, as it might sound, it started off as just an editing agency. But as I've been working with independently published authors, it's grown from there based on what authors ask for most frequently. So now I also do ghostwriting, because a lot of times people want me to finish their book that they've been working on for years. But I've also been doing self-publishing consulting, because it's a problem where they get and they're done with their book. What do I do now? Or I know what to do and I don't have time for this. I don't want to do it, which is perfectly valid. So I've been doing that for several years now as well. And then I've also decided to start selling my books. So I'm a independent bookseller in addition to an independent book writer. So that is my new adventure for this year. So running two businesses instead of one. I've been in business since 2011, and I think I've known Christina almost as long. It might have been 2012 when she launched Fictionary and we started working together. So that's who I am. And what we're going to be discussing today, it's kind of the nitty-gritty of self-publishing. As soon as you're done with that manuscript, that doesn't mean it's ready to go out into the world. So we're going to be talking about formatting, what you need to do to that Microsoft Word document or that Pages document to get it ready to self-publish it and make it into an actual book. The formatting considerations, not just of your book interior, but also the cover and the files that you're going to need to make it saleable. Then we're going to be talking about self-publishing platforms. We talk about Amazon all the time, but they are not the only game in town, and they might not be, the right one for you and what your distribution plans are. And then finally, the good stuff, we're going to talk about some things to do during launch week. Everything's formatted properly, everything's ready for sale, and it's available for sale. But how will buyers know it's there? That's what we're going to talk about there. The first step after you're done is formatting your text. Now, it's good news and bad news that there are multiple ways to do this. It just depends on what's right for you and what format you need to use. So the first and most popular one is using a word processor to make your files beautiful, saleable for ebook and paperback. The bad news about word processors is you kind of have to know which buttons to push. I did actually make a whole video on my YouTube channel giving people instructions, because if you're not a word expert, it can be a big lift. There's a kind of a learning curve. Things like don't include tabs and things like that. So that's kind of a bigger lift, and it can be a turnoff, even though a lot of people do have word processors already on their computer. It's not necessarily what they want to use to format their text. The good news is when you do get to Amazon specifically, you can upload your word processing document directly, and that is for both paperback and for ebook. Other sites are not the same way, which is where we come to PDF. Again, a lot of people already have a PDF generator on their computer. Adobe is the most popular. For me, it's a little bit pricey. I use a program called Foxit. It does everything that Adobe does, and it's cheaper, and it's a one-time purchase instead of a recurring subscription, which I prefer. A PDF will be necessary for your paperback files when you're printing with most platforms other than Amazon. So if you go through Ingram, if you go through Draft to Digital, who does use Ingram to print their paperbacks, you will need a PDF file. And you convert those based on, your word processor. The other format that might be helpful is your EPUB. EPUBs are pretty much only for your ARC readers unless you are selling direct. And in that case, if you're selling it on your website, then you will also need an EPUB for your readers. But if you are independently published, 9 times out of 10, you're not selling direct. At least you're not selling ebooks direct. And so you typically will only need that EPUB for your ARC readers. And the good news is that there are programs that will create EPUB for you. One of them is free, and it's called Kindle Create, and you can download it. Other than a word processor, there are many formatting tools for your book interior. I would say the gold standard is Vellum. Now, the bad news is if you are just a fangirl of Windows like me, Vellum is not available to you. It is a Mac only program. But if you are using a Mac, honestly, I would recommend using Vellum. It creates every file type that you will need. It does it smoothly with a very beautiful and easy to manage interface. I have heard nothing but good things about Vellum. So if you are using a Mac or interested in switching to a Mac, that would honestly be my recommendation to make a beautiful book interior, particularly if you want it kind of to be fancy. I know a lot of romance books will use designs for scene breaks instead of just the 3 stars. So if you want something that's exceptionally beautiful, Vellum is the way to go. Atticus is another option. Now it's web-based, so this is across all platforms. I have used Atticus. It's not bad, to be clear. I have had some problems when you are uploading an already existing document into Atticus. There can be some conversion problems. Sometimes it won't create the PDF for you, or sometimes when it creates your EPUB for you, there are some issues. If you compose directly in Atticus, which you have the ability to do, it's smooth sailing. It's a beautiful experience. It's a good program. It's just that sometimes there are some kinks when it comes to uploading a pre-existing document. I mentioned Kindle Create. This works in all ecosystems also, but it is only to create an EPUB or if you plan to upload into Kindle Direct Publishing. So the file that it creates for you for your ebook, I think it's for Mobi, it's not going to work on other sites. The EPUB will work everywhere for you. But basically, it's kind of something that Amazon created for their own platform. So keep that in mind. If you are publishing on Amazon, it's great. Maybe not the best for you. And it's for ebook only. It won't create a PDF for you. The classic solution that a lot of people use is the Microsoft Word and Adobe Acrobat combo. This allows you to do all ecosystem. It works in all ecosystems. So if you have a Mac, you can still get Microsoft Word for Mac, and of course for Windows as well. I mentioned this, even though it's a bigger lift and you kind of have to learn your way around, a lot of people already have it. Either they have it on their work computers or they have it on their home computers, depending on how they like to work. And because they already have it, they already have some skills with it. So even though they have to learn a few new things, they already have a head start because they've used it before. And sometimes people are not in a position where they can, buy new software, and that's totally understandable. Independent publishing can be expensive. And so if you already have a solution already on your computer, I do like to encourage people, it's better just to learn the skills versus, an unnecessary expenditure for software that you're only going to use once every couple of years. Now that's the interior. Once your interior is formatted, I don't want to say that's the easy part. Some people have artistic ability and they are able to do their own covers. There are a lot of pre-made solutions that are out there. A lot of times people look askance at pre-made solutions, but honestly, some of them are really good. They do range in price. So depending on where your costs are, depending on what genre you write in, going with a pre-made might be the good option for you. But even if you do that, your cover is not a one size fits all for the various different types. So your ebook cover will be different from your paperback, which will be different from your hardback, which will be different from your audiobook. They all have different size requirements. They all have different kind of gutter requirements. So each site will have a template. KDP has a set of templates where you enter your trim size and how many pages there are, which your artist will need to know, by the way. Ebook is a little easier. As long as it's kind of in the right rectangular shape and it's got dense enough pixels, it's a high enough quality image, it usually passes muster. It's a lot easier to come by. I typically, for ebook cover files, go with either 6x9 or 5x5 by 8.5. That has the nicest translatability, regardless of what device your user is reading. So if they're reading from their phone or if they're reading from a proper Kindle, using those size, your cover usually looks very nice on the screen. Your artist will need to know your page count. Sometimes they will need to know what color your paper, if you plan on going white or cream. For fiction, I recommend cream, by the way. And sometimes, only for Ingram, you will need to know your ISBN. I don't know why that's a required part of their template generator. It's one of many annoying things about Ingram, which we'll discuss later. But Ingram does have a lock. They are the only print-on-demand company that will allow you to have a jacketed cover. So usually when you buy a hardcover from the bookstore, it's a hardcover and it has a book jacket on it. Only Ingram provides those. Amazon does provide a hardcover, but it doesn't have the jacket. The cover design is printed directly on the hard case, which looks lovely, by the way. I've seen several of these. They look fantastic, but TradPub does the jackets, and so some people they have their heart set on those jacketed covers, and that's totally fine, but Ingram is going to be where you need to go. For audiobook, I do want to mention this because ACX, which is Audible's publication arm, they are very particular, not only in how your sound files are, but also in how the cover looks. So if you're thinking you can just take your existing ebook cover, slap it into Canva and just have those black bars on the side to make it a perfect square, that's not going to fly. So when you're working with your artist, you will need to make sure that they do create separate files for your ebook, your audiobook, and your paperback and hardback if it accounts for it. So now we've arrived to the next screen, basically, when you're uploading. You have your interior files, you have your exterior files, but that's not all that you need. Regardless of what platform that you publish on, you're going to need a few other things. You're going to need keywords. This is going to help categorize your book and help readers know if it's something they want to read. You're going to need categories, which will be either 2 or 3, depending on the platform that you're uploading to. You need a blurb, which hopefully you will have generated already. You need to know how you want to price it and what is expected for your price, for your genre and for the length of your book. And then you need to know what kind of distribution you want. When you are dealing with Amazon, you have the option for ebooks to go exclusive to Amazon. So basically, you're enrolling your book in Kindle Unlimited, which means that your ebook is only on Amazon and it can't be anywhere else. It can't be a reader magnet on your website. You can't give it away as part of your newsletter, and you certainly can't give it away or sell it on any other vendors. They take that really seriously. So if you enroll in Kindle Unlimited, make sure that your ebook is not available anywhere else. A lot of people do choose to do Kindle Unlimited just for that first 3 months that they launch, and then they take it off and go wide. So what you decide to do is entirely up to you. And really, you can look at how it's selling. Are you getting the majority of your, sales through page reads, or are you getting it through, individuals buying your books? That can help inform your decision on whether or not you stay in Kindle Unlimited. As for price, sometimes people will do perma-free. If that's the first in a series and you already have those other books ready to go, sometimes people will do perma-free. I have a perma-free book. It works really nicely as kind of a lead magnet, honestly, on Amazon. Other people choose not to do that. Some people think that if you price it at $1.99 or $2.99 and it's a full-size novel, that kind of devalues their work. They don't like it. $5.99 is honestly the most common, even for independently published works. If you have a full-size novel, say between 60 to 100,000 words, $5.99 is not unreasonable. Now, if you are in one of those whale categories where you're working on volume, so if you're a romance writer and you kind of want to entice people, it might be your decision to go $2.99. This is entirely up to you. And the great thing about KDP and every other platform is once you insert the price for your book, they will show you what your royalty for each sale will be. So you can kind of make an informed decision from there. For paperbacks and hardbacks, on Amazon, you have the option of doing something called expanded distribution. That means that your hard copy book will appear on the websites of other vendors like Barnes and Noble, like Waterstones. Your paperback or hardback will be wide. It won't be in the physical bookstores typically, but physical bookstores will have the option to purchase your book and stock it. And shoppers who are online at barnesandnoble.com or whatever will have the option to search for you, and they'll see your book there. So some people choose to do expanded distribution. Sometimes royalties, especially for overseas sales, are not the greatest. And for that reason, sometimes people choose not to do it. But it is up to you. I personally have typically decided to do it just for ease. I want to make sure people can buy my books wherever they prefer to shop. For the blurb, I do want to pause on the blurb. As you know, or maybe you've discovered already, when you're being asked to summarize your book, this massive 60 to 100,000 word book, it can be so hard to compress that in an engaging way. Blurb writing is more akin to copywriting. And so it might be worth the effort to hire a copywriter. There are people who specialize in writing blurbs. And the reason that this is their specialty is because honestly, it's kind of a different skill. You are trying to entice someone, giving them just enough information to make them want to know more, to need to know more, and to push that buy button. You are basically provoking a behavior, whereas novel writing is building a narrative. It's kind of a different thing. So don't just think that a blurb should come easily to you. Don't be frustrated with yourself if you're just like, gosh, I can't do this. And it's something it's definitely a good idea to reach out for help. Maybe even people with a copywriting background, because it is kind of its own skill. Categories and keywords, I highly recommend. I use a product called Publisher Rocket. It does cost money, but it is a one-time fee. It is not a subscription, which I prefer. And they keep it up to date. So you are able to analyze your competition. You are able to see how many book sales in a particular category you will need to be an Amazon bestseller. I enjoy those very much. And so that can kind of help you realize, all right, is my book, if you've got your tropes and you're not quite sure where it falls, is this a romance or is it a romantic suspense? You can have more than one category, so it can be both. And so it will help you nail down those categories and make sure that you are being as attractive as possible to your ideal reader instead of just a generalized idea of who should be reading your book. Now, with all of that information in hand, you are in a good position to go forth and upload. Maybe you do this to KDP, or maybe you do it somewhere else. Most readers, most people, they shop on Amazon. We know this. Everybody knows that. It's the big one. Unless you've been permabanned, God forbid, I would recommend not skipping out on KDP. I would also recommend uploading directly to KDP. You can do it through an aggregator like BookBaby or Draft to Digital. I think it's better just to do it directly. Amazon, I think, is kinder to you when you do that, and they have a lovely user interface. I haven't had any problem with it. Now, I will say that if you are doing an audiobook, that is not through KDP. Paperback, ebook, and hardback are all through that one KDP site. If you want to do audiobook, that's through a different site, which is ACX, and that's what feeds Audible. Like I said, I really like KDP. It's the king, but there are a few reasons why you might not want to go exclusive through them. And one of those is the book jacket. Ingram Spark is the book distributor for TradPub, at least in North America. They are the ones who print all of the bestsellers. They are the ones who stock the bookstores. Even Draft to Digital, which is also mentioned here, when they print a paperback, they are printing with Ingram. So Ingram is the printer. So if you want a jacketed cover, you have to go through Ingram Spark. I avoid Ingram Spark like the plague, even though they do have some benefits. Specifically, if you want to be in physical bookstores, that's really the one you want to go through. However, one, their user interface is horrendous. Two, there are a lot of bugs that I have found where it'll tell you that, no, you can't progress until you, what is it called? You have to select wholesale pricing. No, I don't. I don't have to do that, but it will try and force you to do that. There are a lot of irritating quirks with uh, uploading your files, for instance. When you upload to KDP, you can see how it looks immediately. It will tell you immediately if one of your words is hanging off the page outside the printable area. It will tell you if your cover dimensions aren't quite right. Ingram won't. You upload your files, and then if there's a problem, 2, 3 days later, they'll tell you. You'll get an email and they'll say, your files aren't right. They will not tell you exactly how they are wrong, though. Since I do this for clients, I have had an enormous amount of pain with Ingram Spark for just this issue. My most recent one was he was having a jacketed cover for his nonfiction book, and the colors were kind of they bled one into another. It looked beautiful. Ingram Spark didn't like that, so they kept rejecting his cover design. And they basically forced us to make sure the entire spine was solely white, even though it was specifically designed to have some of the yellow color bleed in. Nope, nope, that's not good enough. And we had to wait 3 days in between every subsequent cover file that we uploaded. It was horrendously irritating. Additionally, for Ingram Spark, you do have to purchase your own ISBNs from Bowker, from KDP, and from Draft to Digital. They will issue you an ISBN. It is free. I don't know why Ingram makes you buy your own. And they are very expensive. Yes, yes, they are. And you have to have one for every version of your book. So you have to have a separate ISBN for your ebook, for your paperback, for your hardback. They all need their own ISBNs. So that can be pricey. Now, I will say that Ingram Spark did get rid of, you don't have to pay a fee anymore. You used to have to pay a fee for every book that you uploaded. You don't have to do that anymore. So that's, good, I guess. But if you don't plan to have, being in physical bookstores in your local area, a big part of your distribution plan, honestly, I would recommend skipping Ingram if you can at all, do that, because it's awful. Draft to Digital is fantastic for ebooks. This will make, if you want to publish your ebook wide, for me, Draft to Digital is the gold standard. It has a marvelous interface. It's very easy to use. It has good reporting. That is my recommendation. It also now offers paperback, partnering with Ingram, and then it also offers audiobook in partnership with Findaway Voices. I have not heard any complaints. I don't publish my own paperbacks or ebooks, or I'm sorry, audiobooks through Draft to Digital, but because they use those established partner programs, it's really hard to go wrong. So that would be my recommendation. They have a really fantastic interface, and when you're new at something, the interface makes a lot of difference. So what comes next? You've got your files uploaded, they've been accepted, and your books are live on whatever site, whether it's just Amazon exclusively for now, or whether it's wide. How do you get people to find your books? So there's generally a nice little 3-step process. It's simple, but that doesn't necessarily make it easy. The first one is garnering ARC reviews. There are several ways to do this. I have NetGalley on here. There are sites like NetGalley, which is the gold standard, where you can acquire ARC readers. These are people who sign up to get a free copy of your book. They read your book, they review your book. They post those reviews on the sites that you request them, whether it's Amazon, Goodreads, BookBub, wherever you want them. And that's kind of what they do in exchange for the free book. You also, and this is the key of NetGalley, you also get the data from your reviewers. So you can see how many followers they have on TikTok, what their average book review score is. So if they're one of these horrendous people that gives everybody 1 stars, it's like, no, you can't read my book. I'm so sorry. You could approve who reviews your book and who doesn't. And then once you get that data, if you get, say, 500 ARC readers, you can get that list from a site like NetGalley, and that can be used in your advertising. You can say, okay, 250 of these ARC readers really liked my book, and they gave me fantastic reviews. I'm going to take that list of people who love my book, and I'm going to plug that into Facebook. And they can create a lookalike audience, and that's who they're going to pitch my paid ads to. NetGalley is not the only site that does this. Book Sirens is another one. It is much lower cost. I'm not sure if you can download your user data, but you do have access to their reviewers. So if you're someone who does not have an existing street team, you're someone who doesn't really engage a lot online, you don't know who to trust with your ARC, these sites exist. In addition to these sites, which are paid, there are also Facebook groups that are devoted to ARC readers. TikTok or Book Talk is really huge for ARC readers. My most recent release, I had fantastic success. I don't even have a large following. I just put it out there. I said what my genre was, is anybody interested in being an ARC reader? And I got some very enthusiastic readers in that genre, and they gave me great feedback, and some of them gave me fantastic reviews, some of them gave me lukewarm reviews, and I was able to kind of see who liked my book and who didn't. ARC reviews are not optional. And the reason they're not optional is for the second step, which is the promo stack. The promo stack comes a week to 2 weeks after your book goes live. This is when you go to a site such as Written Word Media. For me, that's the best one. And you schedule different promotions. Okay, my book is 99 cents for 5 days. That's going to be part of a promotion that goes out to thousands of readers who have signed up for these emails. If you're releasing a romance book, these are romance readers and they want to know what's on sale. As it happens, your new release is on sale on this particular day. When those people get that email announcing your promotion, they're going to click on your book. They need to see reviews there, because if they just see the book description, that's great. No matter how well written it is, they need to see those reviews, which is why ARC reviews are so important. They are absolutely not optional. Make sure you have at least 10 when you come over here to the promo stack. 50 is the gold standard, because once you get 50 reviews, Amazon starts being a lot nicer algorithmically wise to your book. But 10 is the minimum to have for your promo stack. That gives that social proof to these sales seekers, like, do I want to give? Okay, yeah. If your book is free, it's not as important. But for that first week it's live, you don't want it to be free. You want it to be lower cost, but not free. The reason that we do it 1 week to 2 weeks after the book goes live is your ARC readers cannot leave a review until your book is live on Amazon. On Goodreads, they can leave it whenever they want, even before you've written the book. But on Amazon, the book has to go live in order for them to leave a review. So you want to give your ARC readers time to leave those reviews. And then you have your promo stack, which is 3 to 5 days in a row where you're running different promotions on different sites, where a lot of different people are being told about your book, that it's on sale, and that they can get it here at this site. They're going to buy your book, sales are going to go up. Then you get the algorithmic magic, because in those first 30 days that your book is out, Amazon is a lot kinder to your book. They kind of push you more than you're going to be pushed. And so during that time, you want to make sure that you show Amazon, hey, my book is good. People want to buy my book. When they click on that link and they read my stuff, they're going to make a purchase. And if Amazon sees that, then they're going to continue to push your book even after that 30-day magic window. So that's the logic behind this, flow of events. Promo week best practices. Allow me to tell you how I screwed up my first 2 books. The worst mistake you can do is go to Facebook, tell all your friends and family who do not read in your genre, hey, my new book is out, go buy it. And they do, because they love you. But all you're doing with that is you're messing up the algorithm. Now, if all of your friends and families read in your genre and buy books in your genre, this doesn't apply to you. But that's hard to find. Your social group isn't necessarily based on the kind of reading that you do. So a sale to someone who doesn't normally buy your type of book hurts the algorithm, because it confuses it. It's like, oh, this guy who reads military war histories is now buying this shifter romance. What is going on here? They don't know what's going on. It's a computer. Likewise, if like your friend from high school sees it on Facebook, clicks on it, reads your blurb, and is like, oh, that's not for me. Every time someone clicks on your link and doesn't buy your book, that hurts the algorithm. And additionally, and a lot of people know this by now, if your mom or your bestie or someone you email with frequently, they have all of our data, you guys. So the people that you know in real life, if they try to leave a good review for your book, a lot of times, even if they bought that book from Amazon, it doesn't matter. Amazon will not post that review. They just won't. So we want to make sure that we are doing algorithmic best practices for that launch week and, preferably for that first 30 days. When you go live on Amazon, contact all of your ARC readers. Say, hey, you reviewed my book last week. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's live on Amazon now. If you get a moment, would you mind, leaving a review? A lot of them are really good. They don't need that prompting, but it's polite to do so. People are busy, just so they don't forget. You're going to schedule your promo stack, say about a week. You don't want to wait too long because you've got that 30-day period after it goes live. You want to take advantage of that. But a week or two, you've got some time. And you want to leave your ARC reviewers some time to go in there and, on their schedule. After the promos start, then you blast it on social. You also want to get in touch with everybody who's helped you with your book. So your cover artist, your editor, if you have a critique group or anything like that, just let people know that your book is out. Hey, this is what genre it is. This is what it's about. It's available now. If you've read it, please consider leaving a review. People need to be prompted for that. And then you want to keep promoting it at least for the first 90 days. A lot of time you feel like you're bothering people. Oh, I don't want to talk ceaselessly. I don't want to be that guy who's always just nattering on about the book. And fair enough, you don't want to spam people, but don't stop talking about your book just because promo week is over. You want to do a couple of posts a week, different types. You want to do a video ad, what is it comparable to? You want to post positive reviews. You want to let people know it's still there. Oh, you were thinking about this book? You want it though, don't you? You want it because people have massive TBRs. You want to keep, keeping it in front of them, making them familiar with it. And then of course, if they're talking to somebody else, even if it's not right for them, they're like, oh, well, there's this book, I've seen it. It looks really good. It's not for me, but it might be for you. You want to keep it at top of mind by posting about it fairly regularly so people don't forget about it. And that is the end of it. It's not the end, it's the beginning. But now I would love to hear what questions you have about publishing and what to do after you finish your manuscript.
Absolutely fantastic. So the first question we've got is from Cindy. Can you share the sizes again for the print books that you had a slide on print books?
Well, the print books, and I'm so happy to say this. Hold on, let me find this. Let's see. You have a lot of choices. I'm clicking through. Here we go. Alrighty. You have a lot of choices on what size you want. However, I will say, depending on where you are publishing, if we're talking about paperbacks, 6x9 is a little on the big size. I know we're kind of small, but this is your 6x9. This is very common. 5.5 by 8.5 is a little smaller, and that's your trade fiction size. If you want to go a unique size, sometimes it doesn't distribute everywhere. So if you want to go 5x8, perhaps, and you want to do expanded distribution, keep in mind that some countries it won't distribute there. 5.5 by 8.5 will go everywhere. 6x9 will go everywhere. Once you start getting outside of that bracket, if you're doing a full textbook size 8.5 by 11, if you're doing a small 5x8, some countries will be like, no, we're not distributing that in India, or no, we're not distributing that in Australia. Why? I have no idea, but just keep that in mind when it comes to choosing your book size.
Okay. Cindy's just said, for the digital?
For the digital, I usually go, it's easiest because I format them all myself and we're dealing with an ebook. I usually will go the same size. So if I'm publishing my paperback in 5.5 by 8.5, I'll usually do that just for the ebook as well. And that way you can work from the same file and not like start over from scratch.
Brilliant answer. That's really insightful. Thank you. Um, um, I think big indie authors have issues recently with pre-orders of physical books on Amazon. Danielle L. Jensen recently had Amazon cancel all her pre-orders for a publication date. Well, that sounds awful. Right. Then is there an alternative to get in-person sales signings in bookstores and in library? From Deborah Pritchard.
What do you mean by an alternative? Like to get around having to do in-person book signings?
An alternative to Ingram Spark.
Oh, yes. So if you want to do any kind of in-person event and say you're publishing through Kindle Direct Publishing, as soon as you upload your files, you have the ability to order author copies yourself. They will come to your house in whatever quantities you want. And then if you want to do a book signing, if you want to go to like a Comic-Con and sell your books there, you'll have them with you. So for events, you absolutely don't need to use Ingram. However, so with Ingram, so like say if you're from Wichita and you have a lot of people in Wichita who go to the Wichita Barnes and Nobles and say, hey, I want Deborah Pritchard's book. Barnes and Noble will be like, we got a lot of people requesting this. We're going to stock her book. Ingram is the one that will make that easier. They can order from Amazon expanded distribution, but from what I've heard, it is more difficult for the bookstore to do so. And also, I think if those books fail to sell, they cannot return those books, which makes it less enticing for the bookstore because they,
Right.
they want that money back. So when I say, have it in physical bookstores, that's kind of what I mean. If you intend to sell yourself at events, then that absolutely not. I would still say avoid Ingram at all costs because they're horrible.
And can I also get, I have a guy promoting the book for the launch, and I have a meeting with people before then. And I asked him if I could get some hard copies, some paperbacks for this meeting. And he said no, because the launch is going to be March 8th. And my meeting is February 3rd or something. Is that typical, or could I get a copy like through Lulu or something?
Yeah, is this your publisher or?
No, he's just kind of a promoter to do, he promises bestseller status, which everybody does, I guess. And so I went with him, but he wants the like total control on the launch. He won't allow pre-orders, because of the problems with Amazon. And he said he will put it on Amazon February 19th, and that's the first date I could get hard copies.
Oh, that is an abject lie, and I would not do
Thank you.
business with him.
Okay,
Straight up.
thank you.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
like I'll give you an example. So when I do my consulting, I have to log in. Like if I was working for you, I would have to use your KDP
Yes,
login. And I would
yes.
do all of the work for you, but it's still your login and you can order author copies whenever you want. This is your book. This is your publishing. No one gets to tell you that. So unless he is your publisher and has the rights to your book, no, bro.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
thank you.
Okay, right. So Tara's asked, outside of Goodreads or Amazon, what are the other main book review sites?
BookBub, apparently. I have not been on there a lot, but in addition to the featured deals, which are like a career changer for authors, but they're very hard to get, BookBub also has paid advertising, which apparently have been very positive for a lot of authors. And then they also have book reviews there. And so a lot of times if you have a paid promotion through BookBub, people will look at the reviews on BookBub rather than somewhere like Goodreads. And they will see there. So that's another big one as well.
And also yesterday's talk, I think she mentioned the story graph. So that was one that I'm just researching into now. Right.
Mhm.
Question. This presentation is excellent. Where do we go to get the guest speaker recordings? That's the YouTube channel. So if you go into the community, you can pop into there and you can have a look at the YouTube channels there. So how do the promo week best practices tie into a launch party? Asked Dawn.
I'm honestly not the one to ask about that because I am an antisocial weirdo and I have never done a launch party ever because people will be there. But I have been invited as a guest to a launch party, and generally what my extroverted friends do is they have their launch party. It was a Thai restaurant. It was glorious. And she would do that about the second day of the promo week. So, you know, the promos would start on a Tuesday, the launch party would be on a Wednesday. That way you've already posted, oh, it's for sale. It's, you know, it's available here. And then on the second day, you'll have all these beautiful pictures from your launch party to put up on social media as well. The Thai buffet was an excellent venue for anyone who wants to throw their own party.
Right, Deborah's asked, can I get copies of in-person sales before the ebook? We've already done that one. What is the best, Ben's asked, what's the best way to build a social media presence audience before release?
I have had the best luck on TikTok, which is surprising. And I have done this through making sequential reviews of popular books. So for instance, I knew I had a romance coming out, and so I picked Haunting Adeline, which was very popular, but it's a borderline traumatizing book. And I would say day one of reading Haunting Adeline, and I would, you know, say my impressions, and then other people who had read it or seen videos, they would comment and then they would follow me. And I would also do the reader follow parties, which are very common on TikTok. I'm also, I wouldn't say I'm big on Twitter, but the community is very active on Twitter. And it just depends how you resonate. Honestly, a lot of people are not finding success on Instagram. It's very difficult to grow organically on Instagram. The best way is Facebook groups rather than Facebook pages. I still have a Facebook page, but the activity is all in the groups. TikTok is easiest to grow on, but you still have to do a lot of work in the comments and make sure you're commenting on other people and kind of being a community. And then Twitter, it's mostly among writers, though. It's not among readers, but writers are readers. And so a lot of times they'll help you get the word out. They'll give you best practices. It just depends if you're more comfortable, you know, always being in a text format, or if you're more visual, or if you like making video content. Whichever platform resonates with you, I would suggest throwing myself into that one most, and then just kind of being vaguely present on the rest, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed. So you want to pick which one you genuinely like, which one you always want to be on, and then throw your energy into that, and then just kind of keep up a de facto presence on the other ones.
Fantastic. Right. So next question. When you were speaking about BookBub, you mentioned a featured deal. What is that?
So a BookBub featured deal is highly coveted because they're so successful. So basically you apply for them and you say, here's what my book is about. Here are the images. Here are the number of reviews I have on Amazon. And BookBub decides, is this something that our enormous list of readers is going to resonate with and buy? A lot of times you need over 50 reviews. A lot of times it needs to have been out for a while. And it needs to be in, you know, kind of a popular genre. It's not like something for your niche historical war horse drama. It's for something that they think might be the next big thing. But if you are that featured deal, this huge email list gets an email featuring only your book. It is on sale, and it's basically a glowing endorsement from BookBub. And so you get a lot of sales from it. One of my clients, he's a military sci-fi writer. He got a featured deal, and you know, he was just at that. I think he was slightly under 50 reviews. And you know, he's kind of a quiet guy. He's not, you know, big social media guy, but it made a huge difference, and he was a bestseller for weeks after that. So if you can get it, and definitely keep applying. A lot of times people have to apply, you know, 5, 6, 7 times before they get one. But when they get one, it makes a difference. It's worth it.
Sounds super sweet. Right. Kestrel's asked, what are your experiences with Amazon? Even Dave Chesson with the Kindlepreneur is having problems lately.
I'm assuming this is with the book printing. I don't know what happened, but starting in November, physical book printing like came to a stop. And this is for not just KDP, but it was also for Ingram. And it was also for, I use Book Vault for my direct selling. Oh my God, it was so bad. And it just stopped. And so I don't know if something broke. I don't know if there were just a lot of big pre-orders for the holiday season coming up of people selling direct. I don't know what it was, but it was a big problem. Around Black Friday, I had a client of mine release a hard copy. The UK readers got it within 5 days. The US readers, they didn't get it for 3 weeks, despite the fact that he himself is in the US and most of his buyers were in the US. And this was tied into his business. So it was devastating. So I think this is a US printer issue. I don't know if it's an equipment issue. I don't know. I don't think it's distribution. I think something's going on with the US printer. So I'm hoping it gets better, but yes, you're not making that up. It's a problem.
Fantastic. Right. Are there any more questions that anybody's got going on? I think that everyone's got all the questions out, unless I've missed any. If you want to just copy and paste it again for me. Thank you so much, Kristin. It is absolutely powerful to hear your no-nonsense attitude to how to make sure you self-publish well. It is strong advice which we should all take and we all adore. Thank you very much for coming on here, and thank you everyone for giving Kristin our Fictionary kindness with our wonderful way of asking questions and being involved. Thank you everyone. Speak to you all very, very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.